Wife's shocking double life almost killed me. It had been 4 years since our youngest left for college. We had raised 3 good kids, and now they were on their own. It was our time. At least I thought so. We agreed on how the kids should be raised, but that was about all we agreed on. In addition to being honest and hardworking, we insisted that the children should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. They all got practical degrees and had no trouble getting high-paying jobs. Dad made sure they had no student debt. Up to this point, our marriage had been strong because we had a common goal of raising children. Now, however, we found ourselves drifting apart. Marcia has worked for Liberty Casualty Insurance for the past 10 years. She loves her job and does it well. I don't know what exactly she does and have never taken an interest in it. She was happy and I was happy. We paid for the house and all the expenses for 2 kids in college. Almost 20 years ago, I started a surveying business with 2 childhood friends. It was my idea, and my best buddies Tom and Norm Springer were more than willing to help me promote the business. A couple weeks ago, things went south. I usually got home from work before Marcia. I picked up the mail and went through it. An envelope from the Berks County Health Department caught my eye. It was addressed to Marcia Conrad. I tossed all the other mail on the dresser and took that envelope with me into the kitchen. I put it on the kitchen table while I sorted things out for dinner. Marcia usually came in 30 to 40 minutes later, and I had plenty of time to prepare the meal. "I'm home, John. I'm looking forward to an evening of lasagna and a glass of good red." She took off her shoes before entering the kitchen. I received a light kiss on the cheek before she lowered herself into a chair. The letter lay on her stand. "What is it, this?" She held out the letter as I set the casserole dish in front of her. "I was hoping you'd tell me. This just came in with the mail." I sat down myself and poured each of us some cheap red wine. We liked cheap wine, don't ask me why. I proceeded to dinner, but she decided to open the letter first. Sobofa bitch. It was a phrase Marcia didn't use regularly. "I'm guessing this isn't good news?" It was phrased as a question. "Someone took an STD test and put my name on the contact list. I have to report within a week to be tested." "Is it someone I know?" "Don't be a smartass, John. I have no idea who it is. Someone could accuse you of something like that, and their name is being withheld." "Well, if you had to guess, who would be your first suspect?" "John, you're not funny. How can I find out?" "There has to be some kind of reference, a case number or a file. It all has to be connected somehow. Give me the notice and I'll see what I can do." "I don't like this. I don't like this whole situation. And I really don't like you digging into it. I'm not trying to hide anything, but it just doesn't seem right. Just let me work on it tonight. I probably won't find anything, but I'll try. You can come down and take care of it tomorrow. Just curious. Why didn't I get a letter too?" "You're being an asshole again. It doesn't suit you." She didn't bother eating her lasagna. "Norm, it's John. I need help." Norm's wife worked at Reading Hospital. "What do you need?" "Marcia got a letter today from the Berks County Health Department about an STD. I have the case number. Is there any way Mary can find out who filed the report? I know this is all supposed to be confidential, but something fishy is going on here. If Mary can't get it, maybe one of her friends can. Give me what you have, and I'll see what can be done. It might take a day or so." The easiest thing to do was to just email him a copy of the report. Friday was Chinese night. I got everything ready, including hot tea, and Marcia stopped at a local restaurant on the way home and picked up dinner. She smiled as she handed me a health certificate from the clinic. "Do you know a guy named Malcolm Hurd?" That got her attention. "Yeah, I know him. He's the same guy I fired 4 years ago for love harassment. I told you all about it. I thought he left the state." "Well, it looks like he's back. He's got a local address. Have you seen him lately?" "You're being a smart ass again, John. No, I haven't seen him, and I've never had any relations with him at all. You know the whole story. I've never kept anything from you." "Good. I remember now. He kept hitting on you. and you wrote it down and turned it in to HR and they let him go. He wasn't a happy man, was he? No. He made threats as he was being escorted out of the building. He swore he'd get revenge. 4 years later, I decided it was just a bad memory. I swear, John, I never had any sex with that man. Her denial sounded sincere, but somehow it felt like something was wrong. The whole incident seemed to be affecting Marcia. She had become quieter than usual. She wasn't as ebullient and cheerful as she usually was. Something was bothering her. Driving up to Malcolm's apartment, I was completely calm. I'd convinced myself that under no circumstances would I lose my temper, but I wanted to dig deeper into this mess. Something was rotten in Denmark. Yes? He was thinner than usual and a little smaller than usual. I'd say he was also a little smarmy. My name is John Conrad. Do you know who I am? He straightened up a little and looked me straight in the eye. Yes, I know who you are. I also bet I know why you're here. Do you want to come in? This was something I hadn't expected. The decor was Salvation Army inspired. However, everything looked clean and cozy. Have a seat. Would you like a beer? I nodded. Yes. When he treated me to a black and tan, I liked it a little less. So, Mr. Conrad, how do you want to do this? I pretty much know everything. I'm just wondering why you brought up my wife's name at the clinic. You didn't have sex with her, did you? He chuckled slightly, then took a sip of his beer. No. Lord knows I tried, but no, Mr. Conrad. I never had sex with your wife. Then why? You said you knew the whole background, so it's pretty obvious I was a little angry with your wife. I wasn't trying to get revenge or anything like that. I was just taking the opportunity to rub her nose in it a little. I got an STD and had to get treatment. When I was filling out the forms, I got a little carried away. Putting her name on the list was just fun, that's all. That's all? Yes. I'm surprised you two are still married. I assumed you'd figured it out a long time ago. Figured what out? I watched him finish his beer. You want another? I nodded, refusing. He took my empty and poured himself another. Mr. Conrad, I didn't just hit on your wife, I blackmailed her. I'm not handsome or cunning enough to charm women like her. I need leverage. After much deliberation, I threatened to expose her affairs to you if she didn't agree to meet with me. She called my bluff, and before I could carry out my threat, I disappeared. As soon as I was released from the hospital, I left for California. Whoa, back up! You lost me in the middle of this. What didn't you realize? What things? Why were you in the hospital? Why did you go to California? I seem to be missing a lot of information. You didn't know about your wife's affairs? He looked puzzled by my response. I think I'll have a second mug of beer. I stayed with Malcolm for another 2 hours or so. It turned out that my wife was having an ongoing affair with a man named Mitch Kennedy, as well as a man named Henry Evans. Both of them were mid-level executives in the company. They used the company's guest suite at the Lincoln Hotel for their dates. As far as he knew, they had never met as a threesome. He had no idea if their relationship had survived. He was on his way home from a layoff when 2 men grabbed him and started punching him in the head and shoulders until he lost the ability to move. He spent 2 days in the hospital and then moved to San Diego as soon as he was discharged. I owned 50% of the business. Tom and Norm owned the other half. I sold them my half of the business for $1. They agreed to give me $3,000 a month on a regular basis as a consultant. All I had to do was set up a legitimate blind manufacturing company. They were happy, and I was happy. Mitch Kennedy and Henry Evans were still working at Liberty Casualty, so when I began to finalize my divorce, I also sued Liberty Casualty. I left Marcia a signed deed of quick satisfaction. I took everything out of the bank and savings box. I transferred all the accounts to Marcia. 2 days later, I was in Pensacola. A week later, I was the proud owner of a 20-year-old trailer home in a 50-year-old mobile home park. This was quickly followed by another car, a new driver's license, and a new phone. By the end of the month, I had a safe and secure government job waving a traffic flag at the Escambia County Road Department. I had to get a bank account so I could sign up at the local Planet Fitness. No big deal. No, I didn't buy a toaster. Checks from Tom and Norm went directly into my new account. I waited 3 months before I called my lawyer. Seymour, it's John Conrad. I'm just calling to see how things are going. Good to hear from you, John. You left a bit of a mess here, but things seem to have gotten better. How are you doing? Things are good. I moved to Florida, and now I'm settled in and comfortable. I have an air-conditioned trailer, a fridge full of cold beer, and 300 books on my Kindle. Life couldn't be better. That elicited a slight giggle from me. Well, that sounds good. Now let me bring you up to speed. Things didn't start out easy. Marcia, of course, hired a lawyer. She wanted to contest the whole thing, but since you gave her the house for $300,000 and only took $30,000 in cash, the lawyer advised her to just shut up and take it. I was hoping for that. How much longer do I have to wait? I didn't realize you were in a hurry. I just want to get things in order as soon as possible. Let's see. You will be a free man in exactly 16 days. Can you wait that long? I think I can manage. I'm going to send you my new email address, phone number, and street address. Do you need anything else? Yes. I have some papers to sign. Liberty wants a settlement agreement, but they need a notarized release. They're offering $500,000. Will that be okay with you? Are you serious? I didn't expect to get anything. I was just doing it to mess with them. I suppose you'll get a good deal out of it. Oh, yes, John, I'll take my 28% on top. I was amazed that Marcia never tried to find me or contact me. I hadn't heard from my children or relatives. Of course, I made no attempt to contact them either. Either no one cared about me or I had done a very good job of disappearing. I automatically assumed that none of them cared about me. I don't know what story Marcia told them all, but there had to be some explanation. That's something I'll think about tomorrow. Things were quiet for about 3 months. We were repairing the Lillian Highway along the south side of Perdido Bay. It was a job for the whole crew, so we had a police escort at one end with us. It was a boring, repetitive job, and I wasn't as alert as I should have been. A string of cars was passing from the east when a silver Mercedes stopped right in front of me. I waved for him to keep going as the driver's window rolled down. You're a hard man to find, John. You really should have changed your name. The first thing that came to my mind was, why is Mitch Kennedy looking for me? Then I realized it couldn't be good. I stepped away from the car as his right hand came up, holding the ugliest black revolver I'd ever seen. I threw my road flagon out the car window and rushed toward the castor bean field on the south side of the road. That ugly revolver was very loud. I don't know where the first shot hit, but when he got out of the car, he was able to take better aim. I felt the second shot hit me in the back, but it wasn't what I expected. It was more of a burning sensation than pain. The third shot didn't hit either. He was on foot, trying to chase me and shoot at the same time. He didn't succeed. By that time, I was thoroughly overgrown with brush. I looked back, and he was already reloading his revolver. What was I supposed to do? The next shot was different, a little sharper and not as loud. Kennedy dropped the gun and grabbed his leg, falling to the ground. Our police escort came to the rescue. Patrolman Carla Grazzi kicked his gun away and stood over Kennedy, talking into a microphone attached to his shoulder. I decided I was okay and started walking toward them. "Are you okay?" she shouted to me, not taking her eyes off Kennedy. "I'm not sure. I think so, but I'm not sure," I repeated. I stood back as she read him his rights. He wasn't paying attention. It looked like she had hit him with her knee and he was concerned about it. And she was still babbling into her walkie-talkie or whatever she had. Less than 5 minutes later, another half-dozen cops and an ambulance pulled up. Of course, they had to work hard to get to us. One of the EMTs looked me over and started laughing. He waved to Carla and began to explain. Mr. Conrad was hit by birdshot. He explained it to Carla and me at the same time. There are at least half a dozen pellets in his back and arms. There's nothing to worry about. They'll be able to remove them all in the emergency room and probably send him home right away. It'll be completely outpatient. What did he use? It was a Taurus Judge. I think he loaded it with 410 buckshot instead of buckshot. The gun looks new. I don't think he knew what he was doing. Carla sort of chuckled. Can I take him to the ER in my patrol car? Please, I don't want to put them both in the ambulance. Carla and I introduced ourselves to each other as we got into her patrol car. She was on an adrenaline high from the incident. Looks like she was using me as an excuse to sneak out. It looked like she was avoiding her superiors. What's wrong? You look nervous. She looked in the rearview mirror. I think I might be in trouble. I don't think I should have just shot that guy. What you were supposed to do? He was shooting at me. I guess I was supposed to diffuse the situation in a non-confrontational way. You're kidding, right? She just shrugged. We sat in silence for a moment. That was a great punch you made. Taking him out with a knee strike was great. She chuckled. It was a punch to the center of mass of the body. Oh! We both started laughing as we pulled up to the ambulance. Extracting 8 pellets from my body was the highlight of the day for the ER staff. They all seemed to be trying to outdo each other with little jokes. When they were done, they presented me with a small trophy bag. Carla stayed close by and made a little joke too. While they were finishing up, my boss showed up and told me to take a week's vacation. Carla's boss called her and reprimanded her for leaving the scene and then told her she was suspended while the shooting was investigated. Hey, Conrad, what do you want to do for a week? Have you been to Biloxi yet? Carla grinned widely. I smiled ingratiatingly at her. I didn't feel like driving with a sore back, so my new guardian angel offered to drive me home. One thing led to another and she stayed for 2 days. We never made it to Biloxi. Mitch Kennedy was very angry with me. He had lost his job and his wife. Henry Evans just disappeared. Nobody knew where. It all came out when Kennedy was questioned. He never mentioned my wife. He never said how he found me. 6 months later, Carla and I were living in a small apartment in Orange Beach. We didn't get married. We were comfortable leaving things as they were. She had a failed marriage, too, and we didn't want to get involved in anything. She was still on patrol duty, and I was still a flag officer. Neither of us wanted anything more than that. We were totally compatible in and out of bed. What more could a man ask for? I never heard from my wife, and I had no interest in finding out. Christmas was approaching, and it was time for me to make contact with the kids. A lot of time had passed, and I had to explain things to them. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.